Hello everybody, today I'm back with another WorkflowDog demo. I have a cool one for you today. Today we're going to look at human-in-the-loop automations. If you don't know what that is, human-in-the-loop automations are automations that involve human judgment before taking committal action. In the workflow I show you today, we're going to draft a response to an email, have the automation ask us for approval, then fire off the reply. Let me show you how this works. I have an email here posing as a sales prospect, and I'm going to send it off to myself in my other inbox. Okay, checking back in my other inbox here, we received two emails. One was the one that I sent, and another is the one from our workflow. So, we're told that we got a message from Zaxense, that's me, and here is the proposed reply. So then I might go, make it a bit more casual. We'll wait a second. And there we are. Okay, how about this instead? We have another proposed response here, and then I'll say, okay, sounds good. Send that. And if we check back here, we get the response with the updated reply here. This is really cool and really powerful. I'm going to show you how we made this. Okay, this is a two-parter, so there's two workflows that do all the heavy lifting here. We're in the first one. Now it might look a little crazy, but don't get overwhelmed. I'm going to explain everything. So when we receive an email from a prospect, we start by templating a prompt for the model. This just tells it that it's an SDR and it's helping out with responding. We generate that text there, and then up here we go ahead and build a subject line. We include this special hash approval, which is going to be important in a second, and I'll show you that in the second workflow, as well as just a name so we can see who it's coming from. Then we pass both of those to the send email action, and we send an email to ourselves for approval. Also, we go ahead and we bundle together the reply content that we just generated, as well as the original message ID from Gmail. And we put those together into an object which we can store in our project variables. We're going to need that in the second workflow as well. So at this point, we've sent ourselves the approval email with the proposed response. So let's jump back in and look at our second workflow here, approve reply. And so this one is where things get a little bit crazy, but stay with me here. Now this workflow also triggers when an email is received, but we have a subject filter here that's looking for the hash approval that we included in the subject in the last workflow. So this is looking out for replies to that approval thread. We start by making sure that this is a reply, because that's a prerequisite for doing any of this. Then we take the plain text version of the reply that we just sent to the approval thread, and we clean it up because Gmail includes some extra things in the reply plain text version that we don't need, and then we pass that to OpenAI to classify it either as a request for an edit or an affirmative approval to send. If it ends up being an affirmative approval to send and we're ready to go, then we go down here and we pull that project variable that we stored in the last workflow, and we pick out those properties that we stored, the reply content and the original message ID. And with both of those, we can go ahead and send the reply to the original email, and then we're done. However, I asked for an edit in that demo that I showed you, which means that it came through this path, request for an edit. So when that happens, we actually jump down here and we template together a new prompt to make the model modify the reply content. Once we generate that text, we store the new reply content because we're going to need it once we send the final approval. And then we reply to the approval thread with the new adjusted reply content. So now I have the option to see that new content, either approve it or ask for another edit, and this whole workflow runs again, eventually leading to an approval. Or if you don't want to send it, you can just ignore the approval thread. Once you learn how to use a few basic pieces, you can configure your workflows to do almost anything.